going to look at Shisha mirrors now. So Shisha are the Persian word for glass or mirror. This is what they look like here. See these beautiful shiny mirrors in this work here, and they're held down with a row of stitching around the mirror. The stitching holds the mirror in place, and that's what I'm going to show you in this video. So I'm going to show you round mirrors first. These are the most commonly found mirrors, and I've got some here. Now they come in different sizes. I'll just show you the different sizes quickly. So lots of varying sizes. All of these are available on our website. So I'll pick this size here. This is the 18mm. So we're going to work a grid over the mirror first to hold it in place, then we'll work the stitch around the mirror. Now you can start your thread right underneath this mirror, because this will all get covered up now. So just those 2 stitches to hold that thread in place. Place your mirror in position. Now getting it going is a little bit tricky, just holding everything in place until it's down. So I'm just going to use one finger to hold that in place, and I'm going to come up on the edge of the mirror. Now it doesn't really matter where you come up, but I'm going to come up at what's the top to me, and I'm just off the centre of that. So my centre is about there, and I've just gone across that mirror just to one side of the centre. This is really important, and you'll see that later when we stitch, to hold the mirror in place, that you don't go too close to the edge. So just off centre and straight down the other side of the mirror, like so. So then we're going to work a grid across this. So I'm going to come up now on this side. So there's the centre of my mirror. Just come down a step from that and across to the opposite side. So you can see this right angle now. Straight down the other side of the mirror. Keep the stitches nice and close. Then I'm going to put my second vertical one in. So again, just off centre. And by working around the mirror in this way, you can see that these stitches are overlapping each other, and that will make it more secure. So last one horizontally, again just off centre, and this is going to go over this one. I'm just going to slide the needle under that stitch there, just to interlock those stitches together. And there's my first grid holding my mirror. So this square in the centre will be the part that you see. Don't worry about, you think it doesn't show much of the mirror, we'll pull these stitches out. Now sometimes you might see this stitch done and they stop at just that one grid. It's not really strong enough, I find. If one of these bars breaks, then the mirror can fall out. So I put in a second grid over the top just to make it really secure. So I'm just going to come up now just to the side. So there's my 2 central ones straight up. Just come to the side of that centre now, and we're going to work another grid exactly the same, but just at a slight angle. So across to the opposite side, there's my 2 centres of each side. So don't go down in the centre, just come below that centre now. And again work the grid so that the stitches all cross each other. So I'm now going to put in one at 90 degrees. So there's the first stitch of the second grid, 90 degrees to that, just coming inside this stitch here in this corner, if you like. The circle can have a corner. And then again, not in that central bit, just to the side of it, across the diagonal, not in the central bit, just to the side. And then one more, again not in the centre, just in that corner, and across there. And you can see now how much stronger that grid looks. For having that extra layer, that will be much more secure. Now I'm actually going to finish that thread. I have got a bit more, but if you should find your stitching, something happens and your stitching goes a bit wrong and you need to take it out, you don't have to take the whole grid out as well. So a little tip there, finish that thread off and start a new one. Right, so pretty firm, not going anywhere, nice and solid. So I'm going to start off my second thread now. You can just put your little starting stitches right next to that mirror. This will all get covered now. Now there are loads of ways of putting Shisha mirrors down, lots and lots of variations. This is one of the simpler ones and the most secure one to learn. So start with this one so you get a really good understanding of how to put these mirrors down. So I'm going to come up right on the edge of my mirror, doesn't matter where you start for this. I'm going to make a loop, so I'm going round to my right in an anti-clockwise direction, and the needle comes in this centre circle here, and it's going to go underneath those bars and out towards me, but inside this loop. So that crosses over this loop here. You can see it crossing there, and just tension it towards yourself. Now I'm just going to cut those knots out of the way because I'm heading around. There we go. Now don't pull this too tight at this stage because you pull the bars out of shape, and when you come over here you'll have nothing to pull against. So just gently initially, and then we need to take this stitch through to the back of the fabric. So I've gone round, just going to take that thread over to my right and go down next to the mirror. So we've got a figure of 8 shape now. Come back up from underneath in between the 2 stitches. Make that anti-clockwise loop. Needle goes from the centre underneath the bars that are there. That will vary as you go around, but just go underneath whatever's there. Side the loop, tension it towards you. Take the needle down just ahead. See how I've just taken that thread a little further round so that they cross over, and then back up just behind that stitch. So you're going a little step forward and then a little step back. There's my loop. Underneath the loop, underneath the grid, sorry, inside the loop, forward stitch, head of yourself, and then just that little back stitch there behind, right next to the mirror. You can see that stitch start to form. So under the grid, forward stitch, back stitch, make your loop, underneath the grid, up inside the loop, just tension that nicely, forward stitch, backward stitch, next to your mirror. And you can see now, while we've put that grid so close to the centre, it's pulling out, and I'm actually going to, when it's finished, get that kind of in effect. Any close to the edge, and these just slip off the edge and the mirror falls out. So nice and close to the centre with your grid. It seems a bit strange at first, and you put it in thinking I can't see any of the mirror, but you will, don't worry. So I'm just going to work my way around the shape now, repeating that process. So make your loop, always goes in the same direction, underneath the grid, side your loop, tension it, forward stitch, back stitch, and away you go again. So I'm going to work my way around the mirror, and then I'll show you how to finish off. So we're on the last little section now, and you can see how it's pulled these grid lines, these bars, out around the shape, and how much of the mirror we can see now. So as I said, important that you get those stitches nice and close to the centre. So last little section. It's quite hard to get neat, this stitch, so that just comes with practice. Often you get a really nicely stitched mirror, but it's not in the middle or something, so just practicing that tension, how much to pull at the beginning, is really the trick with it. If you pull too much and move the centre or not in enough and the stitches are baggy. So just a little bit of practice will soon sort that one out. And nice even tension when you go round as well. Get enough stitches in to make sure that's all covered. I've got to mention as well, do those initial bars in the same colour that you want to do your stitching in so that they blend in together. You should find the bars cover, but just in case they don't, then use the same colour to help you out. So I think we might squeeze one more in after this one. Yeah, we will. Under there. And then that will just cross over with that first one. And then back around to the start. Then you can just use your needle if you need to just spread out those stitches, even them out. And then you can just turn your frame over the back, weave your thread underneath to finish your thread. And then we have a finished round shisha mirror.